श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। क्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषयभूरोगणामधेतरविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमो धर्माय महदे नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वताम्। नमो भगवते व्यासाय तस्मै व्यासाय मुदते यस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथामिमां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं माधुभत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. So previously we looked at Pandya was killed by Ashwatthama after displaying a great heroics. He was killed by Ashwatthama. And listening to this, Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, saying that when that Pandya was killed by Ashwatthama, and when Karna was employed in routing and destroying the enemies, what did Arjuna do? And Arjuna is a hero. He is endued with great might. He is attentive to his duties, and is a complete master of science of arms. And also the high-souled Shiva Shankara himself has made him invincible among all the creatures. My greatest fear proceeds from Arjuna. And tell me, what did Arjuna achieve on that occasion? What did Arjuna achieve in that battlefield? So, like this, Dhritarashtra airs his concerns, asking about Arjuna. Even though Pandya was killed, and that's good news for Kauravas, he's still thinking about what Arjuna did. So then Sanjaya narrates, he says that after Pandya's fall, Krishna quickly tells Arjuna that I do not see King Yudhisthira anywhere. Other Pandavas also have retreated. All the Pandavas have returned. Looks like the vast force of the enemy have the enemy have broken our forces. So, in fulfillment of purpose entertained by Ashwatthama, Karna is killing all the Srinjayas. So, great carnage is being made by Karna with the horses and rathis and elephants and things like that. Is destroying a lot of them. So let's go and rescue. So when Vasudeva addresses Arjuna like that, Arjuna responds to hearing the great danger his brother Yudhishthira is in. Arjuna quickly addresses Krishna and says that take these horses to where there Krishna, like this he addresses, and Krishna quickly proceeds that chariot and takes that chariot towards the place. And then the great encounter took place once more between the Pandavas and Kauravas, because now Arjuna has joined all the Pandavas who were retreating from Karna. Karna was sending them back. They all joined once again and they started attacking. So Kauravas and Pandavas once more fiercely, they closed each other, and then the Arjuna Pandavas headed by Bhima and Kauravas headed by Karna, they once again started the battle. Once more, a great battle takes place between Karna and the Pandavas, and that was sending more and more creatures peoples to Yama's place. The bows, arrows, spiked clubs, swords, lances, axes, short club, bushindis, darts, rapiers, battle axes, maces, spears, polished kunta, short shafts, and hooks and many other things that fell upon one another, each of them trying to kill one another and taking another's life. Like this, they were battling. The sky was filled with various weapons flying around. The sound whiz of the arrows, the twang of the bowstring, the sound of the palms, the clatter of the chariot wheels, and enemies rushed upon enemies like this. It was filling everywhere, and the loud noise of the made by the heroes, the people were shouting and then using the bowstrings and fences and bows and grunt of the elephants, the foot soldier sounds, all these things, falling men, all these sounds were filling everywhere. Hearing that terrible sound of those arrows and diverse shouts and things like that, great terror fright took place, and many people, many warriors were struggling to continue with the anxiety and the terror that was filling around. So Karna in that battle, he was crushing with his arrows the Panchala troops, and with this, he dispatched to the Yama's place 20 great Rathis in that battlefield. The Panchala warriors, he sent them to Yama's place. He killed all of them with their horses and drivers, charioteers, and the standards and everything, breaking all that. Then again, many of the best among the Pandava army, they again quickly again once more surrounded Karna, but Karna again agitated that enemy that came towards him like an elephant plunging into the lake and destroying the lotuses. He was destroying those Panchala army warriors coming towards him and surrounding him and penetrating into that troops. Karna began to strike off and cut off the heads with his sharp arrows. The shields, coat of mail of those warriors cut off fell down on the earth. None among them needed more a second arrow from Karna. With the first arrow itself, he was cutting them off. Karna liked this battle, and then he speedily grinded all the Pandus, Srinjayas, Panchalas that came within his range. Then uh, chief of Panchalas, that is Dhristadhyumna at that time, the sons of Draupadi, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Satyaki, all of them united together, uh, proceeded against Karna. And then again, when those Kurus, Panchalas, again Pandavas once more engaged, again the great battle takes place. The battle, they struck one another, covered with weapons. Some of them lay there with their beautiful faces, uh, with blood flowing, and some of them were mangled with arrows and arms cut off, legs cut off, stamped by elephants and things like that. Hooks and spears and lances were stuck in the bodies. Some were slain by one another. They fell down covered with blood. And the chariots destroyed by chariots, elephants by elephants, men by men, horses by horses fell down in thousands. Standards, the flagstaffs, the heads, the umbrellas, elephants, trunks, human arms cut off with those razor-faced and broad-headed arrows, crescent-shaped arrows, all of that fell down on the earth. Large number of men, elephants, chariots, with horses, all of them crushed in that battle. Many brave warriors killed by the horsemen. They fell down. Many tuskers with their trunk cut off and their banners and standards on their bodies fell down like a fallen mountain. Like this, the foot soldiers as well, many elephants, chariots, they all destroyed in that battlefield. Horsemen encountering foot soldiers with activity. They were slain in by the later like this. The battle continued. The in that battle again, Sanjay continues saying that many elephant warriors, riders, riding on those elephants, urged by Duryodhana, proceeded against Dhristadhyumna, filled with angrily. And many of them, combatants skilled in elephant fight, belonged to the Easterners, Southerners, Angas, Vangas, Pundras, Magadhas, Tamaril, Tagas, Mekala, Koshala, Madra, Darshana, Nishada, Kalinga, and various other places, all of them drenched Dhristadhyumna with large number of clouds, like clouds, torrential clouds, pouring rains. They poured arrows on him. Dhristadhyumna covered with those arrows, and the elephant surged by going forward towards him. He was battling, and he pierced with 10, 8, 6 arrows all those warriors and elephants. And seeing him battling like that, covered by those arrows, Pandavas and Panchalas quickly proceeded towards him to rescue him from that large army covering him single-handedly. Then they all started again once more. The battle started in that place. Nakula, Sahadeva, Draupadi's sons, Prabhakara, Satyaki, Shikandi, Chekitana, all of them having great energy, all of them, those great heroes, covered those elephant force with weapons, like a mountain, like a dark cloud pouring rain on the mountains. Those furious elephants as well, urged by the Mlecha warriors who were riding on them, dragging them down with the trunks, the men's horses, chariots, and things like that. They crushed them with their feet. And some of them pierced with their sharp tusks, some of them raised aloft, and some of them dashed down on the ground, some of them just stamped on the foot. Like this, those elephants were destroying the Panchala Prabhakaras and Srinjaya troops, and like this, they were destroying that. Then Satyaki striking the elephants belonging to King of Vangas, who was staying before him with a long arrow, and then he caused it to fall down, and then Satyaki with another arrow, a long arrow, he pierced the chest of the King of Vangas, and with that, the King of Vanga, he falls down onto earth and he was died. Uh, and then similarly at that time, Sahadeva with 3 arrows, with great care, he strikes the elephant of Pundra that was advancing against him like a moving mountain, and depriving it of standard driver, armor, and finally life. That elephant falls and also cuts off, and like that he cuts off. Sahadeva proceeds towards chief of Angas. So he kills off the elephant of Pundra and then moves towards Angas. But as Sahadeva was moving towards Nakula, Nakula stops him, and then Nakula takes over, and he himself goes after King of Angas, ruler of Angas. He goes again with 3 long arrows. He strikes him, and with another 100 arrows, he strikes the elephant. And then that ruler of Angas, he hurls at Nakula 800 lances towards him. Each of them Nakula cuts off. Then Nakula cuts off the head of uh, ruler of Anga, and he cuts off the elephant as well. With that, the Mlecha king was deprived of life. He falls down from the elephant, and the elephant men who were surrounding that king, Anga king, they all rushed speedily towards Nakula angrily because their ruler was killed by Nakula, and all of them possessed of those elephants decked with banners, waved in the air, possessing of excellent mouths, adorned with housing of gold on top of them. They were all desired to crushing Nakula into pieces. They all came forward, the Mekala, Utkala, Kalinga, Nishada, Tamaraliptaga, all of them advanced against Nakula, showering their arrows, lances, desiring to kill him. Then the Pandavas, Panchala, Somagas, filled with angrily, they all went in that direction to rescue Nakula from that group of warriors that were covering him, and the battle again takes place. Sahadeva, with 46 arrows, he quickly kills 8 of those huge elephants and fills them. Nakula also with excellent, using his excellent bow. With straight arrows, he kills many elephants. Then Dhristadhyumna and Satyaki, Draupadi's sons, Prabhakara, Shikandi, Prabhakaras, the Shikandi as well. All of them covers those elephants and warriors with large number of arrows, and continue the battle. And those leaders again on the Pandavas side, they were killing those elephants like that, and after that they all having destroyed that armed troops, they rushed against Karna. So meanwhile, while Sahadeva was filled with battle, continuing in battle like that, at that time Dushasana proceeds against him, and it was brother against brother, saying again to each other engaged in that battle. All the other warriors, they uttered great shouts and waved their garments and encouraged them to fight from both sides. Then both of them started fighting each other. Nakula Sahadeva strikes in the chest of Dushasana, and Sahadeva again, after striking him, Dushasana strikes him in the chest with 3 arrows, and then Sahadeva again in return strikes him again and again with 70 arrows, and his driver with 3. Dushasana cuts off Sahadeva's bow, Sahadeva himself, and then strikes Sahadeva with 73 arrows in the chest and arm. Sahadeva angrily takes a sword and he whirls it and then hurls it at Dushasana, and Dushasana cuts off that arrow, that sword going towards Dushasana, it cuts off his bow, and with the string and the arrow that was fixed by Duryodhana, Dushasana, it cuts off that and then falls down on the ground. Then Sahadeva taking up another bow in that time. Quickly he strikes Dushasana, and with sharp, keen-edged sword, Dushasana cuts off those things because Dushasana's bow has been cut off now. So, and then that sword again, Dushasana sends quickly towards Sahadeva. Meanwhile, he taking up another bow. He starts battling with Sahadeva, and then Dushasana quickly sends 64 arrows towards Sahadeva. Sahadeva, however, cuts off all of them. The battle takes place between them with a large number of arrows and weapons going in both directions. Dushasana pierces Sahadeva and strikes Sahadeva's charioteer with 9 arrows. Then Sahadeva angrily, in return, he strikes Dushasana and piercing with great speed. That arrow enters Dushasana's body. Then Dushasana, with that arrow entering his body, he swoons away, and seeing him in that senseless state, his charioteer quickly takes him away from that battlefield. So, like this, having defeated Dushasana, Sahadeva once again continues to attack that Duryodhana's division that was coming towards him, and he continues that battle. While Nakula was busy in destroying and routing Kaurava divisions on the other side. Karna goes towards him and checks him, and Nakula smilingly addresses Karna and tells him that after a long time and through the favor of Devatas, I have seen you in the battlefield. So, uh, you also, I see you in this bottom. You are the root of all this evil that's happening in this battlefield, and so many people are dying. All this is because of you, and Kauravas are being thinned because of you, and killing you in the battle today. I will regard myself as one of those who achieved their objectives, and with that, I will cool down my heart like this. Nakula tells Karna, and Karna responds to him saying that, strike me first. We desire to witness your manliness, and then let's talk about who has got the strength. So fight me now with all your strength, and I will quell your pride, like this. Karna responds. Then quickly Karna strikes Nakula with the arrows, and 373 arrows. Nakula pierces Karna as well in return with 80 arrows. So Karna then again cuts off Sahadeva's bow with the sharp winded arrow, and then with 30 arrows he again strikes at Nakula, and then piercing him through his armor, it drinks the blood of Nakula. Nakula taking up another bow, he pierces Karna with 20 arrows and his drive charioteer with 3. And then Nakula once again cuts off Karna's bow this time. And then he strikes bowless Karna with 300 arrows. And Karna was afflicted like that by Nakula. All the people watching that, they applauded what Nakula was achieving. And then Karna, taking up another bow, he strikes Nakula in the shoulder joint. And with that blood pouring from his shoulder, started flowing heavily from Nakula's shoulder joint. Then Nakula strikes Karna with 7 arrows, once more cuts off the horns of Karna's bow. Then Karna, taking up another tougher bow, he once again starts attacking Nakula. And then Nakula again, once again, covers Karna, and he cuts off all the arrows that's coming towards him. Like this, the great battle takes place between them. Nobody was winning in that battle, so both of them using various types of weapons, and they were battling each other. And Karna's bow, the arrows coming from Karna's bow was destroying all the Somakas who were supporting Nakula, and similarly the arrows coming from Nakula were destroying all the Kaurava troops that were supporting Karna. The battle was taking place when both armies were driven off by means of those arrows, arrows from Karna and Nakula. Then they again started to strike each other with arrow shower of their own. Again, they displayed their skills in using celestial weapons in that battlefield. They started striking each other and one another again. The battle continued. Karna angrily, in that battlefield, he releases large number of arrows, and even though completely covered by Karna, like that, Nakula felt no pain and he continued to battle. Then Karna smilingly, continuously releases a line of thousands and hundreds and thousands of arrows towards Nakula, and Nakula Karna cuts off those arrows with his own arrows. Then Karna cuts off the bow of Nakula and kills his charioteer with great ease, and then with four sharp arrows he quickly sends the horses of Nakula as well to Yama's place, and with his arrows, with his shafts, with his arrows, he also cuts off into the minute fragments his chariot as well. And also he cuts off the standard, his protectors, on his car wheels, he cuts off his mace, his sword, his shield, and all the other things that he had in with him. He destroys all that with his arrows. So then Nakula, who was now horseless, is chariotless, is armorless, he did not have any protection, quickly jumped, alighting from that destroyed chariot, he stood armed with a spiked bludgeon, and that terrible bludgeon again uplifted. He about to release, but Karna cuts off that also with many arrows. And seeing his uh, enemy weaponless, Karna began to strike him with many arrows, but took care not to afflict him greatly. He made sure, he really, even though he was striking, he made sure that he did not kill him. And like this, the battle continued. Nakula started running away quickly, laughing repeatedly. Karna pursued him, and his stringed bow around. Then what Karna does is he puts his bow, the stringed bow around Nakula. Nakula was running away. He puts that bow around him because bow thread, now that the string was around Nakula's neck. So with that large bow around his neck, Sanjay says Nakula looked beautiful like a moon in the sky, covered. So it looked like that, covered by moon, covered by the rainbow type of thing. It is covered, or the sky covered by the rainbow. It is looked like beautiful. And then at that time, Karna addresses Nakula, saying that the words you uttered, all that, saying that you are going to kill me, all that became useless now. You can't utter them. Can you say the same words one more time, because I want to hear that? And Karna then says that, O Nakula, go and fight with whoever is equal to you, not somebody like me. Go, if you feel any, do not feel any shame in fighting with equals. Go and go to where Krishna and Arjuna are, seek protection there. Like this, he sends away. And when he abandons him like that and removes that bow and cover on his from his neck, Nakula did not say anything. Karna did not kill him, recollecting his promise to Kunti. Again, remember, Karna had opportunity to kill previously Bhima, and he had opportunity to kill Sahadeva and now Nakula. So three of them, he did not do that in the battlefield, remembering the promise he made to Kunti. So he allows Nakula to go, and Nakula was let off by Karna. He proceeded towards Yudhishthira's chariot with great shame, and scorched by Karna, he jumped onto Yudhishthira's chariot, burning with grief. He continued to sigh like a snake kept in a jar. He was sighing heavily, angrily, losing to Karna and the insult that followed. Meanwhile, Karna, having defeated Nakula, quickly proceeded against Panchalas, riding on the chariot of his. He continued, and he made a great massacre there of those Panchala warriors. And Panchala warriors were all covered, dead. They were armless, legless. They were horses, elephants, everything, chariots, everything was destroyed, and great calamity uh, overtook those Pandava warriors in that time when Karna was battling like that. The Srinjaya, slaughtered in that battle by Karna, blindly proceeded against him, like insects jumping into the blazing fire. They were going and trying to fight with Karna, but Karna was destroying and killing all of those warriors that's coming towards him. So while that battle was taking place, Yuyutsu was destroying Kaurava troops again. Remember, Yuyutsu, he is one of Dhritarashtra's son. He's the one who jumped the ship just before the battle started. So he is the one born of a Vaishya woman, Vaishya wife by Dhritarashtra, and he jumped to Pandava side before the battle started. So he was battling there, and Uluka proceeds against him, saying that wait and wait. So Uluka is, if you remember, is Shakuni's son. So he goes again, and then the great battle takes place between them with winged arrows and a lot of sharp arrows. They're fighting each other, cutting each other's bow. The Uluka was pierced by Yuyutsu, and the bow was cut off, and then he takes up another bow and cuts off. So like this, the battle takes place, great battle takes place between one another. And in that battle, then Uluka cuts off with broad-headed arrow the head of Yuyutsu's charioteer, and he kills the horses, and he strikes Yuyutsu himself with 5 arrows. Deeply struck by like that, Yuyutsu then jumps down from that chariot and goes into another chariot, and then he escapes from Uluka in that battlefield. Then Dhritarashtra's son Shritakarman, he quickly he goes after Shatanika and makes Shatanika horseless, charioteerless, and chariotless. He destroys all that, and then Shatanika, however, staying on that horseless chariot, he was fighting with he hurls a mace towards Shritakarman. But Shritakarman, with that, he reduces Shritakarman's chariot, horse, and charioteer. He kills all of that. And then both of them jumping down on the earth, they started their battle. And repeatedly they encountered each other and glaring at each other, they battled. And Shritakarman, Dhritarashtra's son, jumps onto Vingsu's chariot, and similarly Shatanika goes and jumps onto Prativindya's, Draupadi's son, another son, Prativindya's chariot. Shakuni, meanwhile, angrily he strikes at Sutasoma, Draupadi's another son, and the battle again takes place between them. Shakuni cuts off the horse's standard and the charioteer of Sutasoma, and then Sutasoma is with everything cut off. He jumps down from his chariot, standing on the earth. He takes up another bow and he starts battling. And he shoots large number of arrows towards Shakuni. Shakuni, however, cuts off all those arrows. And then Shakuni, with a number of broad-headed arrows, he cuts off the bow of Sutasoma. Now, bowless, chariotless, Sutasoma, standing on ground, he lifts up the scimitar, and with that scimitar, he starts battling Shakuni, and Shakuni releases hundreds of arrows, and Sutasoma, doing various maneuvers, 14 different types of maneuvers, circular maneuvers over that battle arena. He cuts off all those arrows coming from Shakuni towards him, and Shakuni in that battle releases another arrow and cuts off that scimitar that Sutasoma was holding. And even with the half of the scimitar that was left in his hand, Sutasoma releases that towards Shakuni, and Shakuni, with that, he cuts off that bright half scimitar. He cuts off the bow of Shakuni, and then he retreated a little bit 6 steps and hurled that half scimitar from his, and then that cuts off Shakuni's bow. And then Sutasoma, then using that opportunity while Shakuni's bow was cut off, he jumps onto Shritakirti's chariot, and then he was rescued in that battlefield. Then again, Shakuni fearlessly he goes after the Panchala troops and that was assembled there. So in another battle, Kripa was battling Dhristadhyumna. Dhristadhyumna could not advance any further after he came across Kripa. They were battling, and the A great battle was taking place between them. The horsemen, everybody became very cheerless, and without doubt, they said they all the warriors assembled there. They were battling there. They were started saying that without doubt, Krupa is going to kill Dhristadhyumna today because of what he did to Drona. And will Dhristadhyumna escape from life today from Krupa's hand? Like this, they were talking. They were bad. The battle was taking place between Kripa and Dhristadhyumna was great. Dhristadhyumna was greatly stupefied. He did not know what to do. He had to take care of Kripa, the arrows coming from him, the weapons coming from him. His charioteer, Dhristadhyumna's charioteer, addresses him saying that it is not all right with you, O Dhristadhyumna. Never before I have seen such a calamity overtake you in the battlefield. It is a lucky chance that these arrows are capable of penetrating into the vital limbs or not striking you at this moment or not taking your life. It is very lucky that you are alive. I will presently take this chariot to turn back because it doesn't look like, I think the Brahmana uh, by whom your prowess has been annihilated is incapable of being killed by you. So this Kripa you cannot defeat. That's why I will take you away from him because otherwise he will kill you. Like this, charioteer gives advice to Dhristadhyumna, and Dhristadhyumna responds to him saying that my becomes my mind becomes very much stupefied and perspiration covers all over my body. My body is trembling, my hairs stand out to the end. Avoiding this Brahmana in this battle, avoiding this Kripa in this battle, go to the place where Arjuna is battling. Like this, he says, and arrived at the presence of Arjuna and Bhima, maybe I will survive today. I definitely cannot battle. Like this, Dhrishtadyumna acknowledges that he cannot battle against Kripa, and then they withdraw. He quickly moves away from that spot, but Kripa follows him and continuously shooting arrows, but Dhrishtadyumna escapes from Kripa. Meanwhile, Shikandini was battling Kritavarman, and again both of them great battle takes place. Kritavarma taking a lot of arrows from Shikandini. He was vomiting blood from all over his body. Kritavarman taking up his bow was cut off, and he takes up another bow and strikes Shikandini in the shoulder joint. And Shikandini again bleeding heavily. He goes after Kritavarman, and Shikandini was hit with a large number of arrows, and an arrow pierces him, and Shikandini quickly swoons away. So, like this, his charioteer immediately takes him away from Kritavarman, and Kritavarman immediately starts attacking that Pandava army, Drupada and Pandava army, immediately as Shikandini was taken away. So, like this, there were multiple losses, defeats to Pandava's troops that was experiencing in that battlefield. Karna defeating Nakula, and then Yuyutsu defeated by Uluka, and Shakuni defeating Sutasoma, and then we also looked at Krupa defeating Dhristadhyumna. Shikandini was defeated by Kritavarma. Like this, the many defeated, but there is no major casualties, no deaths on the Pandavas side, apart from a lot of soldiers and horses and elephants were killed, but the Maharathis were with great chariot Rathis were battling there. They were not killed. Meanwhile, Arjuna battling still the Samshaptakas, and against them he rushed against those Trigarta, Shibi, Kaurava, Shalva, Samshaptaka forces, along with consisted that also had Narayani Sena and Satyasena, Chandradeva, Mitradeva, Shatrunjaya, and Sushruta's son, Chitrasena, Mitravarman, king of Trigartas, all of them surrounded by, king of Trigartas, including surrounded by his brothers and sons, all of them great bowmen, all of them with diverse weapons, all of them advanced shooting arrows, advanced against Arjuna in that battlefield. And those again in hundreds and thousands approaching Arjuna, they seems to attack in the hundreds and thousands like snakes. At the sight of Garuda, they were disappearing, even though they were attacking in hundreds and thousands. They were slaughtered in that battle. They did not still leave even though they were slaughtered, they did not leave the battlefield. Satyasena encounters Arjuna and Mitradeva pierces him with the 63 arrows. Chitradeva strikes Arjuna with 7. Mitravarman strikes him with 73. Sushruta's son strikes him with 7. And Shatrunjaya pierces him with 20. And Susharman with 9. And even though then Arjuna strikes all of them in return, he strikes Sushruta's son with 7. Satyasena with 3, Shatrunjaya with 20, and Chandradeva with 8, Mitradeva with 100, Shrutasena with 3, Mitravarman with 9, Susharman with 8, and like this he strikes. Then he kills King Shatrunjaya with a number of arrows with whetted stones, and then he cuts off the trunk from the head of Shushruta's son, and then he dispatches Chandradeva to Yama's place with his horses and things. And then Satyasena who was filled with anger, was rushing and he was aiming at Krishna a large number of arrows, and that arrow pierces through Krishna and it injures his shoulder, left arm. And when that happens, the goad and the reins Krishna was holding of those horses drops from his hand. And seeing him like that, Arjuna becomes very angry and he says that take me towards Satyasena and I will send him to Yama's place. Krishna then quickly takes up again those goad and reins of that horses and sends him, goes towards Satyasena. And seeing uh, him Krishna pierce like that, Arjuna becomes very angry and checking Satyasena with some sharp arrows. He cuts off his broad neck, cuts off with a large arrow, broad-headed arrow. He cuts off, and then Satyasena's head falls off. And then after that, he sends Chitravarman with his charioteer. He sends them to Yama's place. And angrily again, Arjuna, with hundreds of arrows, he kills some Shaptakas in hundreds and thousands. Then, with a razor-headed arrow, he cuts off the head of Mitrasena, and he also strikes Susharma in the shoulder joint. Some Shaptakas again angrily they surrounded Arjuna on all these sides. They showering weapons. They making entire sky covered with their weapons. They covered like that when towards Arjuna. Arjuna invokes Aindra weapon at that time, and from that weapon, thousands of arrows began to issue continuously. Then a cloud of din was heard of the falling chariots, standards, quivers, yokes, axles, wheels, traces of swords, and the bottom of the chariots, the wooden fences, around them the arrows, the horses, the spears, the swords, the maces, spiked clubs, the darts, lances, axes, shatagnis equipped with wheels, the arrows, all these things started falling apart because that Indra weapon was releasing those arrows and cutting off all those things. The ties, necklaces, angadas, keyuras, garlands, cuirasses, coats of mail, umbrellas, the fans, the head of those soldiers decked with diadem, all of that lying on the battlefield. Heads having adorned with earrings, beautiful eyes, each resembling full moon. Sanjay says, looked on that battlefield like stars in the sky, and adorned with sandal-faced beautiful garlands of flowers, excellent robes. Many were those bodies were laying all over in the battlefield, and it was like that. There was no path on the field where Arjuna's chariot could move. The wheels of the chariot could not move. So many soldiers and elephants and horses and broken chariots itself were uh, uh, on the ground, so his chariot could not move. But still, the wheels of even though it looked like his wheels were stopped, the horses, those great horses tied to Arjuna's chariot, they started dragging him with great effort, and Arjuna was moving in that battlefield, destroying those Samshabdagas in numbers. So Duryodhana himself in that battlefield, meanwhile, he fearlessly receives Yudhisthira in that battlefield. And as he was engaged in shooting large number of arrows, Yudhisthira quickly pierces Duryodhana as he was rushing towards him, saying, "Wait, wait." And Duryodhana, however, again strikes Yudhishthira in return with 9 arrows and strikes Yudhishthira's driver with a broad-headed arrow. Then Yudhishthira strikes at Duryodhana 13 arrows equipped with gold wetted stone. 4 arrows of Yudhishthira then killed the 4 horses of Duryodhana. The 4 arrows out of those 13 arrows Yudhishthira released, 4 kills the 4 horses. 5 of them cut off from his trunk the head of Duryodhana's driver, charioteer, and then with 6 arrows he kills the Duryodhana's cuts off the Duryodhana's standard, and with the 7th he cuts off Duryodhana's bow. With the 8th he cuts off scimitar, and then with 5 more he cuts off. Yudhishthira cuts off deep. He pierces Duryodhana in that battlefield. He afflicts him very much in that. And then Duryodhana, alighting from that horseless chariot, he stood on the earth in great danger, because Yudhishthira could have killed him at that time. And seeing him in that situation, immediately Karna, Ashwatthama, Kripa, all of them rushed towards them. And seeing all of them rushing towards there, all the Pandava warriors as well, they all surrounded Yudhishthira, because Yudhishthira is now alone against all these people. Then once again the great battle begins between those warriors assembled there. Once again, large trumpets were blown, and again the battle sound resumes, and large number of horsemen surrounding many great warriors of horse, and loud noise with their palms. They closed one another, started attacking. Some elephants filled with angrily pierced with their tusks the horses with horsemen. Others seized with great force and hurled them to the ground. Many elephants striking foot soldiers like this. The battle continued among the warriors. So Karna again slaughtered the Panchalas, while Arjuna slaughtered the Trigartas and the Samshaptakas. Bhima slaughtered the Kurus and the elephant division. Like this, the destruction continued in that battlefield. So, listening to this, Dhritarashtra, I have heard from you the many heartbreaking and unbearable griefs and also losses sustained by my sons. From what you have said to me, from the manner in which the battle has been fought, it is certain my conviction that the Kauravas are no more. They are not going to win. Duryodhana was made chariotless in that battlefield. How did Yudhishthira then fight? How did the King Duryodhana also fight in return? How also the battle fought in the afternoon? Tell me all those in detail, like this. Dhritarashtra asks, and Sanjaya continues his narration. He says that when the troops in both armies were engaged like that, Duryodhana riding on another chariot, he goes again after the Yudhishthira once more and quickly says that, tells his charioteer that, take me where Dhritarashtra is. I will kill him today. Like this, he urges, and Yudhishthira as well takes his chariot towards Duryodhana, and then again battle takes place. Duryodhana in that encounter, he again cuts off the bow of Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira did not tolerate that. He, putting that bow aside, takes up another bow and then cuts off Duryodhana's standard and bow. Duryodhana then taking up another bow, he strikes at Yudhishthira. So, like this, the battle takes place between them, desiring to defeat each other, and Yudhishthira angrily strikes Duryodhana in the chest with 3 irresistible arrows, and again Duryodhana quickly pierces in return with 5 sharp arrows with wetted stone. Then Duryodhana hurls an arrow capable of killing enemy, but Yudhishthira quickly cuts off that and pierces Duryodhana also with 5 arrows. So Duryodhana, seeing his arrows being baffled by Yudhishthira, he becomes very angry, and he strikes Yudhishthira with 9 sharp arrows, with keen pointed arrows he strikes, and deeply pierced by them, he again once again starts attacking. The Yudhishthira, on the other hand, then placed the arrow, a great arrow, on his bowstring, and then that arrow strikes Duryodhana, and it stupefies him, and then passing through his body, it enters the earth. Then Duryodhana, with angrily uplifting a mace, he starts to hurl that swells and wills and strikes and sends that towards Yudhishthira. But Yudhishthira again cuts off that mace into pieces, and then he strikes again uh, at Yudhishthira with a arrow with great care. He hurls that, and that one again piercing through the chest of Duryodhana. Duryodhana deeply pained, and he fell down and swooned away. Then Bhima, recollecting his own woe, he addresses Yudhishthira, saying that this one should not be killed by you, O king. Like this he addresses, and Yudhishthira then abstains, striking further at Duryodhana. At that time, Kritavarma quickly advances and he rescues Duryodhana from Yudhishthira in that battlefield. Bhima then taking up a mace, he goes after Kritavarman, and then the battle takes place between them. Meanwhile, Karna at the front, he was battling and he was destroying large number of Panchala warriors and Shringias, Prabhakaras and things like that. He was destroying. Satyaki proceeds against him, and the battle takes place between Satyaki and Karna. Satyaki in that battlefield quickly covers all the warriors from the Kaurava side coming, and then many Athirathas belonging to Kauravas, accompanying elephants and chariots and foot soldiers and things like that. They quickly approached him, Karna, at that time, because Karna did not know what to do when Satyaki was attacking like that. That force again was whatever that was going towards Karna to support Karna was again destroyed by Draupadi's sons, and all of them started running away from the battlefield. At that time, Krishna and Arjuna, having finished their daily prayers, daily Sandhya, in the afternoon Sandhya in that battlefield, they once again resolved to return to battlefield. Arjuna's Gandiva again started sending large number of arrows and sending large number of Kaurava troops to Yama's place. Duryodhana again, once again, singly, he again proceeds towards in that battlefield. He, Arjuna cuts off Duryodhana's bows, his charioteers, his horses and standard with 7 arrows, and next cuts off his umbrella with 1 arrow. Then, obtaining the opportunity, he strikes at Duryodhana with a large arrow, but that arrow was cut off by Ashwatthama. And then, cutting off bow of Ashwatthama, killing his horses, Arjuna next cuts off the bow of Kripa, and then the bow of Kritavarma, and then the standard and horses of Kritavarma, then cuts off bow of Dushasana, and then he proceeds towards Karna. At this time, Karna leaving Satyaki, he quickly strikes at Arjuna with 3 arrows and Krishna with 20, and Arjuna again repeatedly strikes. So, like this, Arjuna continuously battles, and Karna also battles, and Karna felt no fatigue at all while battling. Meanwhile, Satyaki comes up again, and he pierces Karna with 99 arrows, and once more with 100 arrows he strikes. And then all those Pandava troops assembled together: Yudamanyu, Shikandi, sons of Draupadi, Prabhakaras, Uttamaojas, Yuyutsu, the Nakula, Sahadeva, Dhristadhyumna, Chedis, Karusha, Matsyas, Kaikeyas, and then Chekitana, Yudhishthira, all of them accompanied by the chariots, horses, and everything else. They surround Karna in that battlefield, and also they started releasing a large number of weapons and addressing him with harsh words and things like that. They resolved to prepare for his destruction. Karna dispersed all of them in that battlefield and battled all of them. Then Arjuna smilingly he he baffles Karna's weapons, and then the battle resumes between them. So the arrows of Arjuna fell heavily on Karna, and similarly, Karna's arrows were coming towards Arjuna and the Panchala forces. While the troops were battling like that, Surya started setting on the eastern side, on the western mountains. He started entering that mountain, and started disappearing. And in consequence, again, of the darkness and especially owing to dust, Sanjay says that we could not see anything, whatever that was happening. The great bowmen on the Kauravas side, fearing a night battle, they all retired from the battlefield on that evening because, again, fearing what happened previously when they continued with the night battle, they lost huge heavily because Gatotkacha was battling and things like that, so they lost heavily. So they remembering that they returned, and when the Kauravas started returning, Pandavas side as well with cheerful obtaining the victory on that day. Considering they have obtained victory, they retired to their own encampment and cheering all along the with diverse musical sounds and instruments. They applauding Krishna and Krishna and Arjuna in that battlefield. They returned to their camps. And again, those armies having withdrawn, they uttered great benedictions on Pandavas. And like this, the battle on the 16th day, Karna's commandership first day completes, and we will stop there. We'll see what happens in the next. We'll see that next time.